Hello once again, witchy people. I'm still here. It's Friday the 18th of February. 3 days till my birthday. The reason why I'm mentioning the date is because, once again, I will say Storm Eunice is not quite raging yet, but I think we've got about an hour before, half an hour to an hour before she really starts hitting us down here. I have had a few things roll about in the garden. There's pots rolled over and all sorts. But the furniture's still there, so we're not doing too badly. So, welcome back to the Covenstead and a little talk about altars. Now, once again, this is something that I've covered before, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot recently since Ravenflower did her 22 questions for 2022. And one of the questions was about altars. How many do you have? And it got me really thinking that I have an altar box, as people know, and I don't often use it as an altar. It's really hard for me to set up an altar space. Mainly because I don't trust the dog and I don't trust the cats, and I have grandchildren running around sometimes. That's my excuse anyway. The other thing is like I said, maybe it's the lazy witch in me, I don't know. But there's this whole thing that I kind of believe that everyone has an altar space, whether they realise it or not. So here's my way of thinking about it. The minute you pick a surface, whether that be a windowsill, a shelf, a table, an occasional table, anything, and you put something upon there that means something to you, so a photograph or a tumblestone, an ornament, something that connects you to your spirituality in some way and that means something special to you, you have created an altar. You've created a sacred space for you, for your spirituality to sorry, my hair's getting in the way, for your spirituality to express itself. Now, whether or not you have deities within your practice, I don't think that matters. It started raining, hasn't it? It has. It started raining again. It's not. I mean, I have altars and I set up altars, but I don't really have deities within my practice. It's not something that I'm completely comfortable with. It's just not something that happens within my practice. There are certain figures that I feel an affinity with, and that I may not call upon exactly, but have some just like feel that connection with them. It's really hard to explain. I've always had a connection with Lilith, and I think that's because possibly with my father being Jewish, I don't know. Hecate, but then again, I think a lot of people do within, witches have a... When I say people, I tend to usually mean witches in general anyway. And others, Hestia was always one. Herne is another one, even though that's not really... you can't really trace that one back too far. But anyway, so that I do have sort of affinities with some figures. I shall call them figures. But I don't have dedicated altars to these figures as such. And although I may call upon them, I don't do so in a regular sort of way, and I don't have, like I said, I don't have altars set up specifically for them, though I do dedicate certain things to them in certain ways, because I don't, maybe I see them as kind of like a personification of a type of energy, and I would never take that energy without giving something back, if you see what I mean. Anyway, off the subject slightly. So I mean, I have, just in this room, which is my dining room, I have a shelf which has got just my like cards on and divination things. Then I have another shelf which has other divinations, but it also has boxes on it, and within those boxes, one of them is my father's box, and it's got his collection of things in it. So there's like coins from different countries. He was in the Boys Brigade when he was very young, when he was a young teen, and he had the Boys Brigade cap with the red feathers on it, the plume, and I have that red feather plume. I have some badges from some of his old jobs, when he was a coach driver for several different companies before he had his own company. So that's kind of like a dedicated space. Then I have another shelf which is all completely, there's a lot of green man things and oak leaves, and there's something to do with owls there's something to do with a fox there. So that's kind of like a dedicated space. It's almost like an altar. These are all like different altars. Then I have another one which has got some of my oils on it. It's got another fox on it, it's got a cat on it, it's got my it's got a jewel tree on it. Then I've got another shelf with my little head ornament. It's got my cauldron, it's got my palmistry hand that I made, it's got feathers, and then I've got another shelf which has got oils on it, and it's got my raven, my Ed and L, people know it's like a skull with a raven on top of it. It's got a couple of goblets on it, and it's got my scrying mirror on it. There is a space up there, there's a space there, there's a space back here, there's a space up in the corner that's dedicated. I mean, my father-in-law's up there. His ashes are up there, as well as my dog's ashes. And I have spaces in my lounge that have photographs on that mean something special, and it's almost like an ancestor thing. And I think everyone has, and I think that can in a way partially be seen as an altar of sorts. Just because you don't change your space on each Sabbat or Esbat does not mean to say it's not your altar. I think, yes, you used to do the wheel of the year and the changing of the seasons, and think about how the year changes your community and you, and how you react and things like that. But these spaces are also as a collection of things that mean something to you and your spiritual path. So an altar can be anything. An altar can be a box that you open up, and it's got something in it that represents part of your path, your spirituality, and your dedication to that. And I think, as much as I look at people's altar setups and I am blown away, I don't think that you need that to prove anything to anyone, least of all yourself, that that's what you need. It may be what you want. But it's just, you know, I do change my spaces, but I don't necessarily change them up a lot. I add to them slightly, or I might move things around. That may change. I mean, I used to have an altar set. I used to have my altar set up at the top of the stairs. As I came out of my bedroom door, it was there. So it was a very communal part of the home. So people could notice it and see it. But it was also very personal because it was right outside my bedroom door. It was the first thing I saw as I woke up in the morning. I sat up in bed. I could see through my door and see the space there. But the cats just kept knocking things off, and no matter where I set this up, the cats would come along and knock things off and try to chew candles. My cats, I've got a really strange taste for candles, might be because they're beeswax candles. And the dog would try to, you know, pinch things off of it because they're not very high. So the spaces I do have are convenient. They're a lot not changing, because where I don't have a lot of deity influence, the things that I do have, like deer antlers and crow's feathers, raven's feathers, I've got a raven's wing, and oils that I've made, a lot of things about foxes and owls, and they're all to do with my path and my reverence, if you like, for nature and nature-based things, which we all have, fair enough. Some of us put that kind of reverence and nature itself into, like I said, the mindset of a figurine, a figurehead of what they believe in. Me, I tend to, like I said, I tend to use deities as a focus, maybe to visualise an energy, maybe. I don't know. I should know, but I don't. So, yeah, I do have some beautiful spaces, and they are very altar-like, but many people would not consider them altars. But I think we, like I said, the minute we take a space and we use it for a dedication for something, it becomes an altar. And I think that's a nice way to look at things. So that's it, just my little talk on altars and what they may or may not mean to some people. Eunice is definitely beginning to hit ground here, I think. So I'll keep you informed. Once again, please keep safe, and I'll be back very soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bye for now, witchy people.